Okay. Well, I want to thank you for joining us here on Tuesday at 11:45. We're going to talk about the real estate market up and down the, as I said, up and down the 275 and the 23 corridors. It is changing. The market is. I can tell that. Well, our office this week or last week had as many listings in the 1 week as we did in all of January. So we can tell that there's more properties coming on the market, and it's a great opportunity right now for buyers and sellers. So again, thank you for joining us. It's a beautiful Tuesday. It's 60 degrees out. We got some short sleeve shirts on, and we're ready to start working. So give you an idea of what's going on. Canton, we talked about the first week here a couple weeks ago that they had in 2020 that they had 155 homes on the market, and this year we only had 51 homes on the market. Well, we finally got our February report. In February we had 67 homes on the market, so we are trending upwards in that way. And the days on the market are still at very low, so that's where that's coming about. So we're also starting to be able to talk about year to date. So we have comparison 2 months of days on the market, where we have 33 days on the market compared to 41 a year ago. So we see that it's trending up, and where homes are starting to come on the market, and we want to make sure that our buyers and sellers are ready to act to the market. It is very important right now that the sellers, especially if you're thinking about selling right now, is you get on the market right now and you beat the rush that's going to be happening here very shortly. And the other idea is, if your home sells here now, as properties start coming on the market, you are ready to make those purchases, where other buyers or other sellers who want to purchase at that time will need to sell their house, and your contingency is already out of the way, that you've already sold your house, you've already gone through an inspection, you've already gone through the appraisal. You basically have cash in your pocket to make that purchase, where other buyers who have to sell their house to make that purchase aren't quite there yet. So it makes your offer look a lot better than the other ones. So that's one of the things I wanted to talk about a little bit today. The other thing is, well, I'll step back here a little bit and talk about agency. When you start talking with a real estate agent, they should right off the bat tell you the types of ways that they can represent you. And there's basically here in the state of Michigan 4 different ways of representing you. They can be a seller's agent, a buyer's agent, a dual agent, and a transaction coordinator. Okay, it sounds pretty simple, but there's some little twists and turns there a little bit. A seller's agent should be working in the best interest of the seller, and they should have a contract with the seller saying that I want to sell your house for this price, for this amount of time, and it should be all in black and white basically. Now, the other one part is the buyer's agent. The buyer should have a buyer's contract with their agent saying that that buyer is going to represent them in their best interest. Now, if that buyer's agent does not have a contract with that buyer, they should be a sub-agent working for the selling agent and the seller of the property. Now, a lot of agents don't sign those contracts until it is right at the time that they're writing up an offer, but technically they should have it in hand when they start showing the properties to their buyers. So it's very important legally that they have that, and it's important for both the seller and the buyer to know what side their agents are working for them. Now, there's a dual agent that is can work for both sides, the seller and the buyer, but this should be in writing by all parties, the seller and buyer and the agent, that they agree to this. And the fourth one is a transaction coordinator. A transaction coordinator is typically a when a buyer and seller come together outside of a transaction, and they said, well, Mr. Agent, could you just help us put this transaction together? Okay. A lot of times this happens when a family member wants to buy a cottage from another family member up north, or sell it to a relative, and they're not quite sure how to how to coordinate that transaction, and they come to a real estate agent where they're not taking sides, that they're working for the seller or the buyer, but they're just working to make sure that the deal goes through smoothly for them. Okay. There's other things out there too that they call a designated agent, and that's basically what we do with preferred realtors. We want to be a designated agent, and that's just basically saying that we are working with the buyer or we are working with the seller, and that way, they know exactly what side of the transaction we're working for. So, so that's the agency relationship, but it's very important that that is brought up right at the beginning of a transaction. I've gone into several meetings with people in the past, and they said, well, my past agent never told me about this, or, I said, well, it should have been in your first conversation that they had that. So, want to talk, maybe bounce back here. If you have any questions, again, please chat, put them in the chat. We'll get back to you, answer them here for you. And if you have, any areas that you want us to talk about, we'll be glad to talk about those too. But we'll move on to Livonia, across the street here from Plymouth. And again, what we're looking at, inventory back in 2020 was 109 homes in February, and we have 49 homes this year. So we got a 55% decrease in homes in the Livonia area as of this year. Again, we had 35 days on the market last year compared to 25 this year. Again, that's a 28% decrease, and that's pretty typical whenever you see the inventory low, that the days on the market tend to decrease also. And the average price has gone from $218,000 to $240,000. So increase of about 10%. So again, it sort of gets right back to the supply and demand curve, and more demand out there, that and less demand, the prices are going to be going up. So again, Livonia is very similar to all the communities up and down the 275 corridor, and it's very important that you work with an agent to make sure that you are maximizing your sale, and also at the same time, when there's multiple offers out there on the buyer side, your agent's very important to make sure that they put a package together so it's noticed, and preferably you get your offer accepted, because there are tricks to the trade, and a lot of good agents out there will make sure that your offer is at least gets to the top. So I want to talk about mortgage applications. When you're talking, and that's really where the buyer needs to start off with, is looking for a good qualified lender. But what do you need when you're talking to a lender? What type of documents do you need? Well, first of all, they're going to start off with your W-2s for the last couple of years. You want to make sure that it's all reported, and you have the next thing that they're going to look for is your most recent pay stub. So they have a good track record of how much you're getting paid for the last couple of years, that you're still employed, and then we're going to be looking at your credit cards, what type of debts that you have besides your car payments and your other type of loans. So what they're trying to do at that time is look at your ratio of debts to income ratio, and that way you can make sure that you are, you qualify for the mortgage that you're looking at. And so looking at the credit cards, the installment loans for maybe your student loan also is in there, your car payments. So, and then they're also going to look at your past history where you've lived, basically between 5 to 7 years. So if you rented for the last few years, or if you own your own home, and so they got to have that sort of a history that way also. and then your bank statements. And so what they're checking there too is you don't have a huge sum coming in and you can't be accounted for. Okay, I think we're back up and running again. Technical difficulties, as they say. So basically, what I was talking about is the documents that you need for a mortgage. So documents that you need for a mortgage, and so if you have any questions on that, please let us know. We'll get that. Now, the other community that we have that I was going to talk about is the Green Oak Township. Again, we're showing a low inventory. Again, last year we had in February 63 homes on the market. This year we only had 26 homes on the market, a 58% decrease. But we've also seen almost a 30% increase in pricing out there. So it is definitely a market where the sellers are making a lot of money, but with the interest rates as low as they are, it is a great time for buyers. So that's why you're seeing it's still a high demand. Is the cost of buying is very, very low, and so you're keeping a very low monthly payment with the right around a 3% interest. So I hope you have hope this gives you some great information. Sorry about the technical difficulties here today, but we'll be back next week, next Tuesday at 11:45. We'll be talking about the real estate market up and down the I-275. Until then, have a great Michigan day, and let's talk soon.